It's funny how I recently discovered that I had actually a few different encounters with neckbeards and legbeards. I, for the longest time, had thought I could see right through people, which I'm usually extremely good judge of character, but being only human, I know I'm bound to make mistakes with people. One story in particular that stands out comes from my college days, so about 5 to 7 years ago. Some of my recounting may be a bit fuzzy, but I still remember most of what happened. But first, let me introduce the cast. Myself, new to the college scene, I'm a huge geek-loving anime, video games, cosplay, nerd, you name it. Kinda awkward and shy. Cosplay leg, the Legbeard of our story. Ruby, an old friend from high school who was 2 or 3 years older than me, who has been like an older sister to me. She's mainly prominent in the beginning of the story, but is a huge piece regardless. Saya, another friend from high school who was a year ahead of me and attending college at the beginning. She plays a very small role, but nonetheless is important, as you will see. Dane and Angel, the 2 best friends I could ever ask for, and who have also witnessed and have been dragged into the BS of cosplay leg. So technically, though, I said this took place during my college years. This all technically started back in high school, though I had close friends in my own grade. I was closest to a few upperclassmen. I'll call them Ruby and Saya for the sake of the story. Ruby I had known for much longer, and she had treated me like I was her little sister, as I had no older siblings, and Ruby didn't have any siblings. I was absolutely devastated at the end of my sophomore year when she had finally graduated and went off to college. I lived in a small town that is basically kept afloat by the local military base, so the vast majority of people around our area are military of some sort, and after graduation they usually move away, but thankfully she did not, and we still kept a close relationship, texting each other and staying over at her house and eventually her new apartment. I was invited over for her New Year's Eve party my senior year, and I noticed Ruby seemed extremely aggravated and angry at the party. Once everybody had arrived, Ruby kept going on about this cosplay leg person, who I had never heard of. Everyone else at the party also jumped in, talking about how nasty this person was and how terrible they were. Ruby and the others then warned me at the party about her, giving me a description of her, and telling me just to run the opposite direction. I would be going to the same college as her in a few months, so they had to give me a heads up. Now, though I love Ruby, I also know that she can hold grudges, and sometimes get upset about what I sometimes perceived as minor things. Well, obviously, I'm writing the story out for you, so you probably already figured that I did not heed her warning. Not long after that, I was hanging out with Saya at our local mall, having a great time and stopping to get some Taco Bell, when I finally met the infamous cosplay leg. She stopped to talk to Saya for a couple minutes, but in those few minutes I was taken aback. I could not tell if it was B.O. or her mouth or both, but oh my god, it was hard to stomach. Her teeth were so infested with black that it looked like the noose of a toothbrush. I had never reached her. Now that I'm not a mean person, and I do not judge people by looks, but you can only ignore a gross smell for so long. Later, Saya tells me a bit more about Cosplay Leg, saying how she felt kind of bad for her after the falling out she and Ruby had. As it turns out, Ruby and Cosplay Leg were best friends, and met when they first started college. They both had liked a lot of the same things, especially Homestuck. Yes, Cosplay Leg was obsessed with Andrew Hussey's comic Homestuck. Don't get me wrong, I was a pretty big fan of it, and had made some crappy cosplays, made artwork, and even roleplayed from it, and I still enjoy it to this day. But, my god, Cosplay Leg was on a whole level of cringe with her obsession with Gamesy, to the point she would do these cringy impersonations and make up for him. Anyways, after their fallout, Cosplay Leg had many people turn away from her that were also mutual friends of Ruby, and had only a small few people who would still call her a friend. And Saya felt sorry for her, though she herself was grossed out by her lack of hygiene. So fast forward, and I started college, and I was loving it. I loved the freedom to go where I want to go, be able to leave campus for a few minutes with friends if we had time between classes, and I could do basically whatever I want with my free time. And with a new school came new friends. An old high school friend had introduced me to Angel, a loud yet funny, sweet, caring, and sometimes a bit hot-headed sweetheart of a girl, who is still my best friend to this very day. Angel and I got along great, and I started hanging out with her and her friend group more and more, as did Cosplay Leg. Now, I'm what I like to consider a true yellow Hufflepuff, meaning I am the epitome of a Hufflepuff, loyal to the end, so I try not to get acquainted with Cosplay Leg out of the respect to Ruby. But with Angel being so close to her and myself trying to make new friends somehow or another, that escapes me to this day, we end up becoming friends. Shudder! I also felt like Saya's words just resonate with me about feeling bad for Cosplay Leg not having any new friends. I could relate. I was a nerdy girl all through my high school years and was bullied and felt much like an outcast. I had developed a lot of issues that I'm still getting help for to this day, so I try to keep my friendship to Cosplay Leg a secret from Ruby. Regardless, though, Cosplay Leg had started to show signs of being an elitist cosplayer as the months went on. I'll give her this. Cosplay Leg was very creative and outgoing with her costume designs and puts lots of effort into her costumes. However, she would make some judgy comments as the months would go by about other cosplayers or things she found online. Meanwhile, she herself would be coming into college, casually wearing Homestuck cosplays with Faygo, or on the rare occasion, Faygo-flavored cupcakes. Nasty, by the way. We had actually started a cosplay group, which included myself, Angel, my still dear best friend Dane, a friend of Angel, let's call her Blade, Cosplay Leg, and one annoying control freak of a girl. Let's call her Miss E for elitist. Honestly, she could have a story all to her own. We had somehow convinced the college to allow our group in cosplay, gaming, business, and art clubs to put on a convention at our college. Honestly, it went well. There were no horror stories, and we had it for one more year and had nothing but good reviews. However, our group then started to fall apart. The first year went off without a hitch and had a good time, but the second year is when the shit hit the fan. We had a news team come to interview those who were running the con and to do some in-general reporting, though not only was I holding a treasurer seat at the club dressed up in costume and standing with Cosplay Leg, Miss E, and Dane. Once the reporter came over, Cosplay Leg had all but ordered me away and had Miss E and Dane follow. Found out from Dane that she liked their costumes best and wanted their costumes to be pictured with her for the interview. The con goes on, and Cosplay Leg had recruited Miss E and Dane to judge in the cosplay competition, as the other two judges for some reason were nowhere to be found. How quaint. Regardless, Angel and I decided to go up into the control panel room upstairs and watch the competition from there and keep our other friend, we will call her Panda, some company. Cosplay costume show was going good. Not a huge turnout, but it's a small con, so for its size, it was a decent gathering. The announcer then came up to the end and introduced Cosplay Leg up to the stage and said she was the leader of our group. What? Three of us in the top booth exchanged looks at one another like, what the hell was that? And to Cosplay Leg's credit, they sheepishly announced that no, they were not the leader, but with that the announcer kept insisting that they were. With the convention coming to a close, it was me, Angel, Dane, Panda, and Blade were all relaxing, getting out of cosplay in upstairs room that was blocked off for our con staff. We were all excited, but albeit completely drained and exhausted. Cosplay Leg was boosting up her ego about putting on a con and side-noting others' help. She then turns to all of us and says, "So, guys, how does it feel to be professional cosplayers now?" I just kind of looked at her and raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? No way in hell I'm professional, and I wasn't. She then went on to explain that because we put on a convention, we are now pros. This might sound silly, but after hearing what I had developed a nervousness of cosplay. My friends are amazing cosplayers, especially Dane and Angel. Dane would make all of her items and props herself and has a large following on her Instagram, while Angel bought these beautiful cosplays and props and always looked gorgeous. I had struggled with money during college like many other young adults and found it hard to afford making costumes with my budget. Cosplay Lake and Lady E from that point were starting to go with more elaborate costumes and throwing out different and more elaborate cosplay group ideas for us to cosplay. Some of which were Broadway cosplays. Yeah, no way in hell I could afford to make or buy cosplays from Hamilton. I started getting into a bad habit of blowing away too much money to buy parts for a cosplay, and had my grandmother teach me how to use a sewing machine, and I felt like I was doing better, but due to some past issues, I started to fall into a depression about how I was not good enough with what I had made, and had a lot of self-hate for my body. I honestly wanted to quit cosplay altogether, but I was afraid of losing my friends. Thankfully, this changed during the final fall of our cosplay group. You see, our cosplay group was mainly just for cosplay, but we also had lots of mutual friends we hung out with in college, but the cosplay group was especially for when we traveled to cons, hosted panels, and tried to brand our name in the cosplay community. The smaller community compared to most in our area. Panda, as I had mentioned before, was one such friend who was always with us and helping out while in cosplay and was a huge help that we would have been screwed without her. She finally started to dip her foot into cosplay and wanted to host things with us, to which we encouraged. Angel, Dane, and Blade and I had talked about it one night with her and mentioned how we should just make it official, since she basically already had been an official being, as though it was not our leader of our group, and we are supposed to be a democracy. We saw no issue with it, but Cosplay Lake and Miss E had something to say about it. We messaged them later at night saying something along the lines of, "Hey, voting that Panda should be made official as a member of our group on Twitter," to which everyone agreed, except Cosplay Lake and Miss E. Some info on Panda. She was dubbed the baby by all of our friends, as we all felt the need to protect her since she was smaller and a bit younger than us, and just in general a sweetheart who was always willing to help a friend out. She had been an especially good friend to Cosplay Lake through all of her elitist attitudes, and overall had bad hygiene, and would give her the benefit of the doubt. Cosplay Lake came back with saying that, well, they are an honorary member, but I think I need to think more on it before we had a new member, to which Miss E had replied in the same fashion. This pissed the rest of us off and hurt Panda's feelings, and I started to point out facts to them about how it was stupid that sounded, and that it was 4 against 2. They requested to have time to think about it. We all just dropped it for about a week of no talking, so we needed time to simmer down. Then the following week I found myself at Walmart with my mother, helping her get groceries for a summer party we were throwing. My phone is going off in my pocket. It was Angel. "You need to check your text." So I did, and sure enough, it was Cosplay Lake to our group chat saying, "Welcome to our newest member," with a screen cap of our Twitter account welcoming another friend instead of Panda. I was fuming at this and immediately fired back at her about, "Awesome, great, where is Pandas?" To which we got a response of, "Well, we still need time to think about Panda." Side note, I would have been completely fine with this other friend joining us, as I would have any other friend, but I was pissed off at Cosplay Leg, still did not even acknowledge her own friend. So I immediately posted, "I'm afraid I can no longer be a part of this group if we cannot even acknowledge friends. This is a group for costumes, not a clique. I don't want to be part of this anymore." With that, everyone else had started to drop out as well.